Hello, my name is Patrick, and I'm the new owner of Systems Plus Computers, and I'm excited today to talk to you about our first podcast. This podcast is going to be covering all kinds of technology, but in a very educational format. And as you know, here at Systems Plus, we do retail, we do repair, and we do business services. And so during this podcast, we're going to explore and dig into each of these areas. So my name is Patrick, and I have a long history in computers. I started professionally back in 1998, and my first job was to deliver computers to people. And I have to say, it was probably my most favorite job that I had. And the reason is that as I would deliver computers to people, they were super happy to get it. It was their new computer day. They have been struggling with these old devices for probably 4, maybe 5 years, or maybe even longer sometimes. The big thing back then, though, was moving from Windows 3.11 to Windows 95. And so the number of questions that I got on what a start button did was pretty amazing. And I do recall spending many hours explaining that the file, what was the thing called now? The file manager is now the file explorer. And anyway, so there was a lot of changes there. But for today, I'd like to dive into just a few areas. One, we had some new iPads come in. Also, we're going to be speaking with Chris later on about repairs. So join us in this episode, and I hope you enjoy. Hey there, how's it going? Today I think we're going to be talking about the iPad Air, and that's going to be the new one. Let's talk to Katie over here and do a quick demo and see what we have. Katie?
Hi. So I don't know if you've heard, but they have the new iPad Air 13-inch. It's a really good deal because it's got the M2 Apple Silicon processor built into it. So you're getting all the speed in there, but you're getting a nice size and not paying like exorbitant amounts. It's starting at $799 for a very powerful iPad with a nice gigantic screen. So it's very powerful, so you can actually do editing in Final Cut Pro should you wish. You can just use it as a heavy-duty machine for Excel or work-based things. You can use the Apple Pencils with it and have a nice big screen and be able to draw like it's a regular sheet of paper.
Excellent. It looks very nice. I like the screen on it.
Yeah, so I was actually just kind of playing a little bit around in Final Cut Pro here. They actually already have one up here for a San Francisco celebration, and there's a button that just says Edit. And you can actually see here on the screen that it's got all the clips here, as well as the voiceover,
and the tracks.
The different tracks from the different songs, and when they're coming in, and you can always tap them and move them around.
So you can use this as a full editing bay.
Yeah, and it's not even a Pro.
Oh, interesting.
The Pros will handle it better, but the Airs, considering everything they just put into this guy, if you are just getting into this and want to play around with it, it's a really good iPad for that. You can also use the Apple Pencil to do drawing right on the screen, and you can get very detailed depending on what you want to do with the Apple Pencil. And it also comes with my favorite accessory, which is the keyboard case. Because the keyboard case not only gets great angles and it's a very supportive structure, but it also charges wirelessly, or well, not wirelessly, but you don't need to plug a wire into the iPad. It charges through the case. I just think that's absolutely cool.
Oh, that's a great feature.
Yeah. And it also has a mouse with it as well for those who would like to use a mouse, or you can poke the screen. So
and the keyboard.
And the keyboard.
And
then
this is detachable as well from the keyboard, so you can walk around
Pops
with
right
it.
off.
Yeah, very nice.
You can do whatever you'd like with it from there. It's got the little connectors on the side, and that's actually what lines up.
All right.
Though honestly,
and that's the charging port there.
Yep.
Okay.
And
gotcha.
I use the cameras to just kind of line it up, and just snaps right on. Makes me look like I did magic, and all I did was use magnets.
All right. Thank you, Katie.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Hi there. How can I help you? Thank you, Chris, for joining on the first inaugural Systems Plus podcast. I was curious about repair and maybe what trends you might be seeing in the repair area over maybe the last week or two. Is there any that stand out or any trends that you might be seeing?
Well, generally the most important thing we see type of repair we see most often is broken screens, whether it's an iPhone or a computer. And that's why we're always, pushing customers, encouraging customers to make sure they're getting the Apple Care Plus with the unlimited incident fees, because that will really cover you. Because a broken screen on your iPhone, out of warranty, is a few $100s, and you generally find yourself in a position where it's like, buy a new phone. The computers are a big one. Screen replacement, even on a MacBook Air or MacBook Pro, are like usually around $600 or $700 total,
Wow,
all
that
in with the
gets-
parts and labor. And
That
without
gets
Apple Care
expensive.
Plus,
Yes.
that's a huge repair. That's a huge bill,
Right.
especially when it's a MacBook Air, where you buy a MacBook Air for $1099,
Mm-hmm.
and to put $600 worth of work into a computer is a
Over-
lot versus spending that additional couple $100 on
Yeah.
Apple Care Plus,
Yeah.
and knowing you're having to pay a $99 instant fee.
Do you know what might be causing these screen breaks? Is it because people are outside more, running around?
Could
and-
be,
Yeah.
It could be.
Summertime.
The most popular one we see
Mm-hmm.
is we'll have a computer come in, and there'll be these little nibbles on the corner of the screen. And we'll call the customer and say, "Do you have a cat?"
Oh, I see.
Because your kitty was nibbling on your screen, and
Oh, yeah.
it broke the screen. It bit hard enough to break the glass, and now your screen's distorted.
Wow.
So yeah, Apple Care Plus is a huge thing, and then I think you were going to talk a little bit about Find My.
Yes, we're going to do a little segment on Find Mine as well, and we'll probably display this over the screen.
Yeah.
But talk a little bit about why we have to turn off Find My in order to do repairs on the computers.
So Find My Mac and Find My iPhone is a really cool feature, because if you even with my Apple Watch, I don't know where my phone is sometimes, so I can hit a little alert, and it'll connect to my phone, and it'll tell me where my phone is.
Right.
If you've misplaced your phone or your device somewhere, if it's connected to the internet, then you kind of know where it is, and you can say, "Oh, I left my phone at work."
Okay.
Or I left
Excellent.
it here, I left it there. So what it does, that's a really cool feature. For us as repair, we need to have that turned off, because it's also a security feature. It sort of locks out the firmware of the computer, which prevents us from being able to do a repair. And Apple prevents us from being able to process a repair, because they
Right.
know Find My's on. Now, we actually had a problem this morning with the newest feature. Apple has instituted a great feature for theft and loss
Okay.
on your device.
What is it called? Is it also Find My?
It's part of Find My.
Okay.
So it's another feature Find My can turn on, and it's for theft and loss. It's a great feature.
Yep.
It's going to have some great usage. Unfortunately for us in the repair industry, it's going to be a bit of a pain, because in order for us to process a repair, we need to have Find My turned off. Unfortunately, if a customer walks into our store and we need to say, "Can you please turn off Find My?" If they've enabled loss and theft, we can't disable Find My, and the phone's going to immediately think it's been stolen, because once you have loss and theft turned on,
Yeah.
you have to turn off Find My on your home network,
Oh.
on a network that your computer is used to. So
where you've been before.
where you've
Okay.
been before. So
Yeah.
even if in things like password resets
Sure.
are going to become a really big problem for
Sure.
us.
Yeah. So
Because
even if they brought it into us in the store, we couldn't even turn it off at that point because it's not on their home network.
Right, if the
Right.
loss and theft is turned on, yeah, and
Right.
even if we want to reset the password on someone's computer,
Sure.
we may start running into that same issue where the phone, where the device needs to be on a known, accepted, secure network,
Yeah,
most likely
yeah.
their home network,
Interesting.
which will make things a lot harder for
Sure,
customers.
sure.
Because we have customers come in all the time say, "Can you
Well,
help me reset my password?" And
Imagine
say,
you're traveling and you're,
Yeah.
something happens, you think you lose it, or maybe you imagine it got stolen, you report it, and then you find it, and
Yeah.
now you need a repair. Yeah, that's going to make it harder.
Yeah.
But I think, from a privacy standpoint, I think it's probably a really good thing. Even though it makes our jobs more difficult in some cases, being able to trust your device and the data that's on the device and ensuring that that data remains inaccessible by others, I think is such an important thing, because there's a general conception in the industry, and I've heard this from many people, is that, you know, my computer is inherently insecure. You know, if I put it on the computer, it means that a hacker can get in, and in some cases that's true. But oftentimes it's the same thing, like just locking your front door, right? It doesn't keep out the locksmith, but it's going to keep out 99% of other people, right? So just making sure that there's a lock on there. I think Apple's taking it to the next level, where it's a much deeper stance for security. It makes things less convenient, but it's protecting people's data. So it's a double-edged sword.
It is hard. I mean, we find this, I think, with Mac and Windows, that we have these situations where someone's locked out of their computer and they can't really even reach out to Apple, or in some cases Microsoft either, to unlock their machine, because the systems are so secure that even the software people that make the stuff said, we're not storing it on our servers, so we don't know what your password or your BitLocker code was, or your file vault's encryption on the Mac.
I can think of one situation where we had that exact thing come up with BitLocker. The customer had the BitLocker key that didn't work. Had files that were on there that were not backed up, and we were not able to recover those. And we just explained to him, it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do, which is keep all that information secure. If we could break into it easily, then there's really no point in putting that lock on the door. So,
right. Yeah. I mean, that was Apple's argument with that big issue several years ago, when they wanted to. The feds wanted Apple. The FBI wanted them to go into that guy's computer, and we're like, look, we've intentionally not built any kind of backdoors into our system.
Yeah. And it makes you think of security through like Facebook Messenger and other things. And I think maybe a lot of privacy-focused applications like Signal and others, they're built just for that special purpose. Okay, so broken screens. In terms of protecting yourself, screen protectors or anything. Does that work?
So you can get put little plastic screen protectors over your screens, and they will help somewhat.
Yep.
One of the most important things is obviously not dropping your computer.
Yes.
Besides not dropping your computer,
Yep.
Sometimes something as simple as pointing to the screen while you're on a Zoom call and just making too hard of a contact with the screen. That doesn't necessarily break the screen, but we have had customers with really, really tight-fitting plastic protectors on their screen, like cases, and they were way too rigid, and they were really causing they didn't realize it was causing undue stress on the screen.
I see.
But another thing is making sure your keyboard is free of debris.
Yeah.
You're not accidentally mashing cords.
Sure.
You don't accidentally have a cable hanging over your keyboard and you shut your screen real fast.
Yeah, I mean, as you look at the Apple devices, the clearance between the keyboard and the screen is so tight.
And they're so thin.
And they're very thin. So even just leaving a pencil or maybe even maybe not a paper clip, but other small things in there can, and then that leverage, right, will just crack that screen, especially at the bottom there where you have a ton of leverage as it comes together.
Yeah, and also for you folks that are concerned about, certain things, like someone getting into your computer, on an Apple it's kind of hard, and realistically, it could probably happen, but we don't think there are people out there hacking your Mac and turning your screen on, turning your camera on. One of the biggest things we actually see, and Apple will actually ask us, was somebody using any kind of one of those silly little camera shade things.
Okay.
Because even having like a little tiny thing like that, like you said about the clearances,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I see.
you
Yeah.
you shut
The
your
privacy.
yeah, putting a little
yeah.
privacy screen over your.
That's right. That's
you know
right.
that,
yeah.
that can, even that can even cause the screen to
I
crack
don't-
if you're closing it too fast.
I don't think there's enough space between the monitor and the keyboard to even have anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and when we see people, we'll put those on their Macs,
Right. Right.
or they'll put duct tape over it.
Duct tape. Yes. I think that's a popular option.
That's a very
yeah.
popular option.
I like the other one where you're using like a clear masking tape so that you can kind of see the person, but they're sort of fuzzy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are fun ones.
I hope you enjoyed episode number 1 of the Systems Plus podcast. A special thanks goes out to Chris and Katie, and please come visit us at our retail location, 390 Miracle Mile, Lebanon, New Hampshire. Thanks and have a great day.